total non-stop atrocities against my eyeballs. As Jim Ross once said, will somebody please stop the goddamn match? Well, will somebody please stop this goddamn show? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling for your TNA review for the 22nd of February. But the reality is, it doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't matter what you call this show. They changed the name. They changed it back from Impact Wrestling to TNA. It doesn't matter. It's like giving a shitey turd a lick of paint. At the end of the day, once you scrape that paint off, you've still got a turd underneath, and TNA is full of turds. The name change was never going to work. I knew the name change wasn't going to work. This would be like changing WWE back to WWF. You don't have Stone Cold, you don't have The Rock, you don't have The Undertaker, you don't have shit. You've got the same awful product, but with a different name, 3 different fucking letters, and that's what you've got with TNA. They've changed it back to TNA, but you don't have Kurt Angle, you don't have Sting, you don't have Scott Steiner, you don't have Christian Cage, you don't have Kevin Nash, you don't have Samoa Joe, you don't have AJ Styles, you don't have the hot Velvet Sky and the beautiful people. You don't have none of that shit. What you've got is the same boring fucking jobbers that we had 2 months ago when it was called Impact Wrestling. This is nothing but a glorified indie fed that has a shit television deal. That is it. And I'm honestly on the verge of stopping watching TNA. I don't know how much longer I can do it. I will try. The pay-per-view's tomorrow. No Surrender, I think it is. I'm ready to surrender. I am ready to surrender watching this show. It absolutely sucks. Every match is just a jobber match with jobber wrestlers that we do not care for, and it goes like 10, 15 minutes every single one. We want to see stars, okay? And I get it. TNA's in a tricky situation because it doesn't have any stars, but look at the Attitude Era. People wanted Austin. People wanted Rock. They didn't want to sit through a boring 10, 15 minute match that meant nothing between 2 guys that meant nothing. Now, luckily back in the day, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, the majority of the people on the roster were good. There was a lot of stars, but sometimes you would just get a match between 2 guys that, just weren't over. They didn't connect to the audience, and literally a couple of minutes into the match, the crowd would be chanting, "This is boring." The crowd would be unhappy. They'd be booing. They'd be letting the company know, they'd be letting WWE know, or WCW know, or TNA know, or whatever, that they didn't like what they were seeing. But today it's like acceptable to have these boring 10, 15 minute matches, and the crowd that don't want to see this, the crowd that actually want entertainment and characters and hot women, that crowd no longer watch wrestling. That crowd's done. That crowd have said goodbye to this shit, because it is shit. And you're only left with you're only left with the brain dead people that sit there and go, "I love indie wrestling. I love 15-minute fake wrestling matches." That's all you've got left, man. You've only got the dregs of society, the kind of guys that would just sit and probably watch wrestling all day. I mean, probably jack off to wrestling 24/7. They watch indie wrestling, they watch global wrestling, they watch WWE, TNA, New Japan, Mexican wrestling, Australian wrestling, European wrestling, Scottish wrestling. Fuck it, if there's wrestling on a continent, these sad bastards will make sure they are watching it. But anyway, the point is, guys, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be watching this. Let's get into the show. Wasn't good, certainly isn't worth wasting that much time on. So Chris Sabin defeats Jason Hatch. No idea who this guy is. Jason Hatch. No, don't care. Went way too long. Just was irrelevant, okay? Did not matter. Then we got Mustafa Ali hype video saying he's going to become the X Division champion in Ali We Trust, and it's like the same Ali hype package that we've been getting now for the past couple of weeks. It's the same thing, and people are saying Ali's a big deal. Ali's going to make TNA great. Ali's going to be a star at No Surrender. Ali's going to come in and help this company. And it just shows you the kind of situation that TNA are in, that people are looking at Mustafa Ali and they are viewing him as a star. The fact that you would view Mustafa Ali as anything other than a glorified jobber is fucking blowing my mind. It's mind-boggling. But people are actually looking at this guy as if he's like the second coming of Jesus, and he is not. I mean, this is a guy that was probably only getting on WWE television because of the Saudi deal. They were putting this guy on in Saudi because he's from that part of the world, and then they got Mansoor, and then they started putting him on instead, but Mansoor fucking sucked worse than Ali did. But at the end of the day, neither guy was great, and it's going to take more than this guy to make TNA great, that is for sure. The System cut a promo. Just three guys that don't look like they belong together. Moose is a big man, you know, he's got that look. I can accept Moose as a main event talent or whatnot in TNA. The other two guys, Kurt Hawkins and Eddie Edwards, never thought they were any good. Eddie Edwards is this wee small guy with a fat chubby face, and he's got the hot wife and whatnot, but I just don't accept Eddie Edwards as a top guy. I'm not seeing it. What does Moose have in common with these guys? The System. I think Moose, in the right sort of environment in TNA, with the right faction and the right manager, the right tag team, I think Moose could look good, but I don't think he looks good with these guys. He needs to drop these guys, and he needs to go on his own. I mean, Moose could be like TNA's Bobby Lashley, but he's just not being used correctly. Chris Sabin was talking backstage about Mustafa Ali being a politician, and he's going to show him why he's a 10-time X Division champion at the pay-per-view, so whatever. Simon Gotch defeated Jack Price. Who's Jack Price? Seriously, who the fuck is Jack Price? Don't know who this guy is. After the match, Gotch refused to let go of the submission, so Alexander came in and pushed him off. Why didn't they sign that guy from Hard to Kill, like the Hammerstein guy, Alex Hammerstein? I thought he was pretty good. I liked him, but for some reason, he looked too much like a pro wrestler, so therefore they didn't sign him. This company only wants to sign fucking bums that look like, I don't know, 150 pound vegans. Anyway, we had another promo backstage for the grizzled young veterans, and they just, I mean, it is what it is. The grizzled, they said they're going to win, and they're going to show everyone why they're the grizzled young vets, and get ready to grit your teeth. Same old shit that we hear all the time. Then it was Trent Seven versus Steve Maclin. Steve Maclin wins. I don't think anybody cares. I certainly did not care. Match lasted too long. I mean, his finisher's called the KIA, and if that is short, if that's an acronym for Killed in Action, then I like the take, or I like the name, but I mean, come on, it's just a name for a finisher. I can't say this show's great because I like the guy's finishing name, you know, that's not really how it works. We then had a man backstage called Giselle Shaw, and she's saying that she doesn't need the shorterage and that she's going to win at the pay-per-view. She's going to be the champ. Gail Kim came in, tried to give her some advice, but Giselle Shaw says she doesn't need help and she doesn't need advice, and she's going to become the champion at No Surrender. Gail Kim is like, what, 52 now, 53, still hot as hell. I mean, bring Gail Kim back. She looks like she could still go. She probably could still wrestle. I like Gail Kim. Yeah, maybe she's a bit older now, but fuck it. Probably, definitely one of the hottest women that TNA have. Maybe the hottest, despite her age. So I'm all for bringing Gail Kim back and putting her back in the ring, or putting her in a bikini or something. Mud wrestling, back in the old Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era. Come on, give us hot women. Bra and panty matches. We need something over here, right? Something to make this show watchable. Then we got a backstage shit with the Rascals. Don't care about that. Eric Young wanted to call it Frankie Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian came on top of the ramp and says, I ain't going to face you, but one of your past demons will. And then Big Damo came out. So Big Damo, we knew he was coming out about a month ago, so I'm just wondering how many of these shows have actually been taped. So Big Damo comes out, Eric Young defeats Big Damo, and that's probably Big Damo gone. Eric Young is going to be taking on Frankie Kazarian at No Surrender. Then Tasha Steelz talked about Shia Brookside backstage. Apparently they're going to meet at No Surrender. I think it's going to be a rubber match, because apparently Steelz has won since Shia Brookside beat her, so I'm not too sure what's going to happen, but it is what it is. I think they're going to meet at No Surrender. I don't really care. Tasha Steelz is pretty hot, to be honest, and so is Shia Brookside. They're probably the two hottest active women on the roster. Then we got Jodie Fret and Denny Luna, two freaks that look like they should belong at some sort of LGBT rally, some big feminazi parade or something in town. They should be waving their wee rainbow flags. Definitely don't look like they belong in a wrestling company, but they cut a promo backstage. Nobody listens. Then George Iceman came out. I like this guy. He introduced Ash by Elegance, and you know what? I'm going to cut Dana Brooke some slack here. I think she done a good job, came out in her debut. I thought the attire looked good. The entrance music I wasn't too keen on, but she won her match. She did some poses. I think she's definitely better as a heel than she is a face. I'm not going to say I love Dana Brooke or I love Ash by Elegance or I think this is the best thing I've ever seen, but I do like George Iceman. I think he's a really good, whatever he is, I don't know, valet or fucking slave or whatnot, to Ash by Elegance, and I thought it was a pretty good in-ring debut, so I think she's done alright defeating Savannah Thorne, and yeah, it's probably the best part of the show for me, if I'm being honest. We then got another hype video for TNA No Surrender, and then in the main event, it was The System taking on Time Splitters, Alex Shelley, and Kushida, and Kevin Knight, so that was that. No idea who Kevin Knight is. I mean, who the fuck is Kevin Knight? Can someone actually tell me? This match went on forever, and in the end, Moose hit a spear on Knight for the win. I'm not surprised the guy that I have no idea who he is lost. I'm not surprised he took the pinfall. That was a long main event, boring main event. Didn't really do it for me. But it is, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm not a fan of TNA. There's not enough for me to have an interest in this show. They just don't really have any stars. Everything looks cheap. Production looks cheap. The sound effects in the ring look cheap. Anytime somebody moves, it sounds like they've got like this squeaky floorboard kind of thing going on. The arena's very dark. You can't see shit. It's a small arena. I mean, I know they're trying to darken it out so you can't see empty seats and stuff, but it looks small time. It legit looks like a small indie fed. This is like watching some like indie promotion. It is. It's like watching an indie promotion with no stars, but it's got a television deal and some belts. I mean, that's all that TNA is, and it's gone from the good old classic days of TNA. I used to love TNA. I thought it was great back in the probably mid 2000s to the probably like around 2012, 2013. I thought TNA gave us at least 5, 6, 7 really good years in wrestling. I know some people have always hated on it, but I used to think TNA was good. I did. I used to enjoy TNA, but I do not enjoy this. This is not TNA. This is a company that unfortunately has been dying now for the best part of, 10 years? Probably more than 10 years. It refuses to die, but it gets worse and worse and worse. And like I said, it's a glorified indie fed at this point, and I can't really give it any more than a 1 out of 10. I like to see Tommy Dreamer. I like to see Rhino. The Hardcore Originals weren't there. I love Joe Hendry. No Joe Hendry tonight. It just, I don't know. Just for me, this just did not do it. So, it is what it is. I'm giving it a 1 out of 10. It was atrocious. I like the Dana Brooke thing, the Ash by Elegance thing. Other than that, nah, it was a poor show. So, yeah, guys, 1 out of 10. Unfortunately, just did not hold my interest. Every match bored me. And, yeah, No Surrender will probably bore me too. But I'll check it out. I'll do a review for the channel. And we'll see if TNA can impress me. So, that's it. Catch you in the next one, guys. Till then, peace.